watching the future today. That's right, today is happening now. We are taking a trip back in time, discovering the mysteries and wonders of the fantastic Los Angeles to Pasadena Metro Gold Line. So sit back and relax and set your watches to now, because we are taking a trip to the future today. Let's ride the Gold Line, train of tomorrow. It all started over 100 years ago. Before the turn of the century, Los Angeles was a vast, arid piece of land with a population of around 2,000. From the first street in Los Angeles, Olvera Street, the city was expanding rapidly because there were forces at work here turning this harsh environment into a desirable and thriving metropolis. Near the end of the 1800s, the links of the Transcontinental Railway ended the area's isolation, bringing with it a host of people flooding the surrounding areas for their beauty and climate. The horse and buggy couldn't keep up with the demand of the growing population. The Wild West was over, and the need for mass transit was now. Many early pioneers tried several ways to help with this problem, like the notable cycleway, linking Pasadena and Los Angeles. Others sought old methods combined with new ones, but the one that worked best was the electric trolleys. One of the early visionaries was Professor Thaddeus Lowe. He built the famed City in the Clouds, known as the Mount Lowe Railway, hailed a technological marvel of the day, famous the world over. The time had come to get serious about mass transportation in the Southland, and one man had that vision. Henry E. Huntington came to California at the turn of the century with one purpose in mind: to build a transportation empire. He single-handedly bought up all the independent trolley companies, then consolidated them into the Pacific Electric Railroad, which, in the system's peak, packed a walloping 1,164 miles of track, making it the world's largest electrical mass transit system. Ridership wasn't exclusive to the PE. Among the most glamorous trains of yesteryear were Santa Fe's Chief and El Capitan, running from Los Angeles through Pasadena, then to San Bernardino, riding on the beautiful Pasadena subdivision. By the end of the 40s, the love affair with traction was waning. People were driving cars, and many right-of-ways were being bought up by the Big Three. The PE service slowed, and the declining patronage sealed the fate of the interurbans. By the 50s, the automobile was king of the highway, and electrical mass transit was no longer.
Might be a little difficult right now on the 405
freeway northbound at Dyer. Earlier accident cleared, still slow from MacArthur to Dyer.
Baker, we have an injury crash here on the right shoulder, and that's back here.
First of all, eastbound.
The need for dramatically expanded public transportation can be seen every night in the bottlenecks on our freeways and our roads. The Idiot of the 20th Century Award should go to the person who decided we should sell the Red Line right-of-ways. Today I want to talk about transportation and the Pasadena Gold Line.
Prop A was brought to the voters in 1980. It was the first attempt to bring transit dollars for a system that was envisioned for LA County.
What's different in Los Angeles is that it's not a compact city. It's a sprawling city. You have people that live in Pasadena who work in Oceanside, who work in Claremont, people who live on the west side come into Pasadena. There's just a lot of travel throughout this county.
The city planners took a map of LA County, and it was by this grid that the voters had their first look at the system that they would be buying into. The LA to Pasadena line was in the hands of MTA for over 15 years before the legislation was passed that a separate authority was to pick up the project.
SB 1847 was the bill that created the authority.
Rick Thorpe was just finishing up the Salt Lake City light rail system targeted for the 2002 Winter Olympics when he was called to head the project.
This particular project was in the hands of MTA for 15 plus years, and the legislation that created the Construction Authority mandated that we build it substantially the same way as MTA had planned it.
They had the red line that was built that went east-west, and then they had a blue line which went from north-south from Long Beach all the way to Pasadena. And originally it was envisioned that the line would run from end to end through Los Angeles from Long Beach to Pasadena. And because the center part of that project that connected it from downtown LA to Union Station was never to be built because it required it being built underground, then it was decided to be too expensive, and then it would never really connect.
Many officials believed that unless something was done, the new line would never see the light of day. So once again, the greater Los Angeles area was to have another go at a light rail system. With systems already installed at other major metropolitan cities such as Chicago, New York, and London, the developers had about 100 years of catching up to do.
Well, we looked at various ways of getting this project done and concluded design-build was the best approach.
Design-build is a little different from the way most projects are built, where it's designed, then it's bid out, and then it's built. In this case, we have the designer and the builder working together, and they must together coordinate the design and the construction on their schedule that's most effective for them. And by doing that, they can compress the time it takes to build a project. And on billion-dollar projects, building it in 2 and 3 and 4 years sooner amounts to several $100 million.
Right away, the groundbreaking for the line began, and the workers started springing up all around the cities to start the work. At the same time, the public was being educated about the events that would involve their neighborhoods for the next few years. It was the authorities' idea to give each station its own unique characteristic by adding betterments. Custom architecture and artwork have been consistent themes throughout MTA's history. Special attention was given to the designing of all stations along the Gold Line system. To accomplish this, the authority hired several artists to establish a visual connection for the 13 stations from LA to Sierra Madre. Built atop 2 granite blocks, the Astridacide is one such sculpture built into the Mission Street station in South Pasadena. The sculpture's eye-catching scale and dynamic use of human form will be an engaging symbol for a community moving ahead, yet resolutely committed to doing so at its own pace and in its own manner.
Well, I'm the artist who created Astridacide, the sculpture behind us. I'm maybe the last artist to get onto the project, as I understand that about 2 years ago I got involved with the first committee meeting and coming up with some proposals and such. I'm actually the first artist to finish, so I'm a really lucky artist.
The late Teddy Sandoval was another artist who was inspired by the beauty of his community and had used architectural details and the landscape to develop a station that would be a gateway to Highland Park.
He envisioned it along the lines of, say, the Watts Towers, where these particular things are the winged figures that will be on top of columns at the station.
Whether you're young or old, riding the Gold Line for business or pleasure, you'll always find the artist's touch at each station pleasing enough to bring you back again and again.
Progress, I mean, we've overcome a lot of hurdles on this project. We're now pretty much into the final stages. You can see behind me, we're starting to take delivery on the vehicles. We're actually starting the testing process, so we're in a transition process right now from construction. Construction is winding down. We'll start testing these vehicles, making sure the system is safe to operate.
Once the testing is complete, All the hard work performed by the construction authority will once again be turned over to the MTA. Pre-revenue testing will begin, which will involve training of drivers, breaking in the vehicles, and working out all the details so the Gold Line will be up and running for the public.
I'm part of the team that comes in before actual service, tests the tracks, make sure that the train operates properly on the tracks. We walk the whole track, make sure everything's in order. We make sure the trains work properly. This is the newest car. This is MTA's newest edition. P2000, MTA's newest edition. It's electronic, it's all computerized. Everything on it is computer generated. This train is built by Siemens, the other is built by a Nippon. This is an American-made car, the other ones are made in Japan. This has no pedals like cars. You pull and push everything right here by the master controller. They have 10 points of power, 10 points of braking. 55 will be our maximum speed at certain points, what we call street run. When we go through surface streets, we'll drop down to 25 miles per hour, but it'll be a great connection. You'll be able to go from Long Beach into Pasadena in about an hour and 10 minutes. It will allow a person to get from downtown Los Angeles, Union Station, into Pasadena in about 32 minutes. This one here is interesting. This is what we have for Pasadena only. It's called a low horn. It's a quacker. And for the residents, it'll say quack, quack through certain areas of Pasadena. I like everything about it. The beeps, the horns, the whistles.
Authorization to proceed southbound. Continue.
As the project came winding down, enthusiasm among the local residents grew as they witnessed the project becoming a reality. Dedications and good press coverage also contributed to the people's eagerness for the long-awaited rail system that was to bring LA, Pasadena, and commuters closer together.
Now, phase 2 of the project is going to be as equally as important as phase 1. I mean, if anybody's ever driven on the 210 freeway in the rush hour, you know, you sit and stop and go traffic, and you get that right away that's just waiting for light rail.
In late 2000, the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments and the LA to Pasadena Construction Authority decided to pursue this continuation of the Gold Line east to Claremont, and will work together as a team to bring this project to reality. Phase 2 of the system will play a huge role in redistributing growth and strengthening established downtowns in the foothill communities throughout the San Gabriel Valley.
The air is 70% cleaner today than when I came here in the 1950s. This is a result of projects such as the Pasadena Gold Line, the Red Line, and other public transportation projects.
Light rail transportation has come a long way over the years. The Los Angeles to Pasadena Authority has proven that such systems can be efficiently built to keep people moving along, to help reduce congestion, and to make commuters happy people.
All the projects that I've done over the years in San Diego, Salt Lake, I love to go back and just see them crammed full of people. That's the real justification and excitement about being involved in a project like this.
There is no doubt the Gold Line will pave the way for a better, faster, more efficient solution to the ever-growing needs of mass transit in Southern California.
Where flowers bloom in the spring. Each morning at dawning, birdies sing, and everything a sun-kissed miss said, don't be late. That's why I can hardly wait. Come on, come on, open up, open up, open up that golden gate, California.
I'm Roger Steffens. Thanks for watching.